from the far north of Maine up along the Canadian border. It's another beautiful day in the crown of Maine. We're a little bit warm today. Yesterday, we did start a little old fire in the wood stove, and after dinner, we curled up on the couch with our hot chocolate. We're teetotalers over here. And we began our winter reading. Louisa May Alcott, Little Women. That's what he picked, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world. Every Sunday, the king of the castle and I will snuggle up in front of the wood stove. We'll have a bit of hot chocolate and we'll read a chapter of Little Women. And sometimes we get really wild. I'm going to read more than one chapter in the evening. Just depends on the mood of the evening and how much work we have the next morning. We live on a farm. Run my own homestead. There's never a minute to really just sit down and take a deep breath, especially as the impending polar vortex is going to be sweeping through the East Coast, but we'll talk about that another day. Get yourselves ready. Get your hay if you have a small farm. If you have a homestead, get your hay, get extra feed. This is a bone-chilling thing that is going to happen in a couple weeks in January, mid-January. The polar vortex is going to swipe through the East Coast. And that's when backyard farming, if you have a small homestead, that is when I say that we play extreme farmer, because it is not fun. It's not fun for your animals, and it's not fun for the farmeress to be out in the bone-chilling cold for a week or so on end. So get yourselves ready. Those of you who watch my channel and are subscribed to my channel, y'all know you have to have a completely stocked pantry and you have to have a completely stocked barn. Make sure your animals have what they need to get through, because these temperatures are going to be bone chilling. Everybody else, I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you may be. I hope you're having a day filled with fabulosity and dang good coffee. The internet is about to change, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world. It's not only changing for content creators, it's changing for each and every one of you who are playing on the playground that we call the internet. Because some parents are irresponsible and they do not parent their children on the internet. Senator Richard Blumenthal from Connecticut, and his brilliant brain, introduced a bill in 2023 called the Kids Online Safety Act, and it may come into fruition by the time this video is posted. Who knows? It's set to pass. So what's going to happen, because we have parents that refuse to parent their children. We have parents who want to be their children's friends, and they buy their young children who have no business having cell phones. They buy them the cell phone, and then the cell phone comes with unlimited data. And these youngins, they decide that they're going to play all over the internet, and they do get into the deep, dark crevices of the internet where no human being should be, where predators lay await for young, impressionable folks to wander into their videos, and then they warp and they twist their minds. And because we have parents that just don't, they're more concerned about being on the internet themselves than actually keeping their children away from the internet until an appropriate time, like the age of 18. If I were to do it all over again, with the internet the way it is today, when I did it, the internet was not like this. When our kids were growing up, it wasn't, you had the dark web. You always had that. But it wasn't a place where you could access unless you had torrent. So I monitored everything when the internet was a much tamer place to be. Yes, there was horrible things on the internet when we were raising children, when we had teenagers. And I made sure the computer was right where I could see it, in my living room, interfering with all my TV programs. Didn't matter. They started playing World of Warcraft, multiplayer games, and they wanted the headsets, and I said, you got speakers? Because I wanted to hear what was going on in this playground that they were on that I was not included in. Now, I didn't know these people. They're people from all over the world were playing a video game with my children. And I want to see how these people talk, what they're saying. And I was just that type of a parent. When Facebook first began, you needed a .edu after your email address in order to access it because it was only for the school. Oh, yeah? I didn't have a .edu. So my kids had to give me their passwords. And I was on Facebook looking things upside down and backwards. And if I couldn't get into an account, it was over. And you had to sign permission to the school. So another big thing. You had to sign permission to the school for your kids to even participate on the internet, to look things up for tests or for midterm papers. If the school did not have my signature, the kid couldn't get on the computer that accessed the internet. The kid had to go to the library and look up in a book. So if I had ever accessed one of my children's social media accounts and it did not go through for me, they'd be in the library looking at books to finish their reports, because that was the way it was. And we had the oldest child. He had the privilege of a cell phone in my name, and it didn't work out for him very well. A thing was done, and I took it away, and none of my children ever got it again. Nobody had the other chance. My kids are 18 months apart. Nobody under that child had a cell phone until they could purchase one themselves at the age of 18, because you needed to, it wasn't this go to Walmart and get the minute cards. We didn't have that back then when it first started. It was go to Sprint, go to Verizon, go to the store, purchase your cell phone, and have a bill. And in order to do that, they needed to access your credit report. In order to access your credit report, you got it. You had to have a job, and you had to have an ID. And that's how my kids all got their cell phones. They basically bought themselves their first cell phones, because I was not having the nonsense. Because back then, data was charged. It wasn't unlimited like it is now. It was charged by the friggin' minute sometimes. Anyways, long story short, the internet is about to change, ladies and gentlemen, to keep the children safe, because the children's parents can't figure it out themselves. Children's parents cannot say, no, you cannot have a cell phone. You are only 10, 11, 12, 13, 15. You don't have a job to pay for a cell phone, so therefore you can't have the cell phone. Because we have parents like that. We have parents that put their kids on the internet while they're on the internet. They have no clue what's going on in their children's internet lives. And these are the same parents that don't require their children to have a life of reality, a living, real life where you can touch other human beings. And now, Richard Blumenthal, Daddy Govt, going to take care of all that for us with the Kids Online Safety Act. And what that's going to do is, if you want to be on the internet, everybody that wants to access the internet will have to upload a government-issued ID. And as for the children that want to play on the internet, you brilliant moms and dads who do not parent your kids, who have allowed them to run rampant in the dark recesses of the internet and access at young age prawn and other very vile, that's the word I want. All the vile, seedy shit about trans and the kids. Y'all are going to have to upload their social security number onto the internet in order for them to be on the internet. So what does this bill effectively do? It effectively inhibits the First Amendment, your free speech amendment, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, because there are a lot of content creators. Your content is going to be attached to your government ID. There are a lot of content creators that are like, nope, I'm out. It's over. It's done. There are going to be a lot of content creators that give up the ghost at this point. I, for one, am not going to be on an internet where I have to upload my government issue ID unless they pay in my ass. When they monetize my channel, that's when I will give everybody my government issued ID so that they can pay me. If they ain't paying me, they're not going to get it. And it's really that simple. And a lot of content creators feel this way, because what's going to happen is all these videos that I do about things that they don't want me doing them about gets attached to my identification. And it may affect how I get on a plane. If I get on a plane, should I choose to get on a plane? And content creators are the front line opposing it, but it's not looking so good. Dr. Rand Paul, he's trying to stop this, and while he has some backing, the push is there. I think Blumenthal might win this one, and I think it may have to be reversed when these big companies start losing content creators. This also ties into the episode I did a few weeks ago when I told y'all the face of the internet is going to change, because legacy media, cable ain't king no more, ladies and gentlemen. It's in streaming. And legacy media's numbers were so bad at the last Nielsen ratings release. It's over. It's over for cable TV. And they all want to get in the streaming racket, and they have millions and millions and millions of dollars to buy out and make deals with streaming services such as YouTube and get the top spots, which will effectively take the mid-range audience content creators and cut them out. Which means if you ain't monetized, you kind of screwed at this point. And that's what's going on. So you got legacy media that wants to come over into this space and cut out the alternative media voice. And now you've got Senator Richard Blumenthal and his miraculous big brain. You've got him devising a way to keep the internet safe for children by everybody having to upload an ID. And I do blame this on the parents, because you're not doing your children any services being their best friend by giving them the cell phone at 10 years old where they can roam the internet basically without your knowledge of what they're doing and where they're going. And their minds can get really twisted, because there are a lot of people that have an agenda, and they are poisoning your children's minds. It's like a cult. And it's a scary world to raise your children in. And a lot of parents, not all parents, not bashing all young parents, but a lot of parents, they're more interested in their self-gratification. They're more interested in what's going on in their internet lives to pay attention to what's going on with their children on the internet. And Big Daddy Government going to take it over possibly for us. So if you do see this online bill passed, there will be a bit of rage from content creators. But mainly, you have a huge faction of content creators that do not want to upload the government ID to the internet just to play around on it. And you're going to see a lot of content creators disappear from the space, and they are much needed voices in the world, because it balances out the nonsense and the actual bullshit from legacy media that they're spoon feeding everybody. So I don't know what's going to happen. If the bill passes, it's going to make it harder. They're going to be able to wipe out the speech that they don't want, simply because the internet is a free space. And you can basically still say a lot of what you want on certain platforms. Maybe not this one, but the other one, the green one. You can say what you want over there. And you can speak on X. And as long as you agree with the H-1B visas, which I've never agreed with, as long as you agree with that, Elon will let you talk. You know, a lot is going to happen in 2025. There's going to be a lot of surprises. And I just hope that voices aren't taken out of the game. Because we're going to need each and every voice. Especially those that look at news and media from a different angle, from a different perspective. Talk about stories that aren't really being discussed enough. They're not feeding you talking points. They're telling you to Google everything they say. Double check them. Correct them if they are wrong. A lot of content creators really do enjoy the feedback from their viewers. And if you get something wrong and you're told you got something wrong, and then you go off and do your research and you got it wrong, a lot of content creators will come on and say, hey, I'm human, I got it wrong. And this is going to wipe those voices out, because everything you say is going to be attached to the fact that you may or may not be able to go to Florida on a plane. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, 2025, full of surprises, full of happiness. Live 2025 from your heart. That's my messaging this year. Live it from your heart. Open up to your sense of empathy, sympathy. Try to see things from other people's perspective. Don't be so quick to judge. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, be the kindness that you want to see in the world. Don't be Richard Blumenthal. This is a backwards way to take away freedom of speech. Do not plot and plan against your neighbor or your fellow citizen. And as always, Carpe Diem, because no one promised you a tomorrow.